Oh god, I'm doing this on 4 hours sleep. Well, it doesn't really matter because I've had 10 hours, 12 hours of sleep concurrently for many, many years, decades. So I feel like I've have built up quite a few hours of sleep that I don't need to use. So there you go. Anyway, this is the special... Oh, it's not a special episode. There's never a special episode. But I am going to review, finally, because I saw it ages ago now. I'm finally getting into it. So let's dig into a review of the new movie, the classic from Australia, Jindabyne. Oh boy. The classic Australian film based on the short story by Ray Carver. So Much Water, So Close to Home, which you may have already seen in the film Shortcuts, which is a great film in itself, but the way that story is done in that isn't as good as the way it's done in this film. This film has a few added elements to make it funnier. So, check this film out. Look it up. Jindabyne, which is about, from the short story, it's about these guys. What's great is that it's such an Australian story, it seems. But these guys who just finally have a weekend away, they go fishing in a secluded area. But when they get there, they see a dead body in the river. And they don't want to... They're pretty mortified. But they don't want to contact the authorities straight away because that's their whole weekend ruined. So instead they just do a bit of fishing and sort her out later. And then they finally do tell the police, but, the police are mad, and then the media catches on, and everyone's mad at these guys who found a dead body and reported it. All right, why do you have to go against them, man? Why do you got to be so hard against them, man? So what? They have to wait a few days. It doesn't... She's dead. For me, it wouldn't bother me, personally. So yeah, and Jindabyne, the name of the town that they're living in here, I guess the second half of the movie is really to do with them when they get back and the way everyone reacts to this. And the way they react as well, really. I mean, how they... I've seen this film twice now, and the first... I saw it again randomly. I was just like, I'll watch a movie. This one... I haven't seen it in a while, because when I go to watch a movie for the second time, sometimes I'm like, I don't remember much about this film, and I remember liking it. Maybe I won't like it as much. But I still dig this movie. It's just I forgot so much going on in it, because I'd say there's a decent amount, really, along with this story. I mean, it is, there's a bit going on, it's showing, the main guy, his marriage or whatever, and his kid? Oh god, I can never remember this shit. No, yeah, that's right. He has a son, and the son has a slightly older neighbor kid who's really weird. She's a weird character, and she doesn't have much to do with the main story, but she's kind of just those young girls that are weird, and she's telling the younger kid creepy stories about monsters in the river and that kind of thing, and she even pretends to drown in front of him to make him swim out, and then he starts drowning for real, and she's like, oh shit. So it's that sort of stuff, but it's just showing how her mum, a single mum, I don't know, but she died. Or was the older sister. Oh my god, I can't get any of this, man. But anyway, so this is showing the strained... It seems like a strained marriage before he goes away, and then it's even more strained when he comes back, because during the time he's away, his wife, I think, finds out she's pregnant. She's like, oh god, no wonder I've been vomiting everywhere. And when he comes back, she doesn't tell him, but she finds out about the body and everything, and she goes to the morgue, and they show that woman, in the river. Her body has these marks around her ankle, which is where they tied her up with some fishing line. And they're like, they just tied her up and left her there, and it's made this mark on her now, which is going to be more evident if you're a dead body. And, and when she sees this, she's She's so upset with him. She gets an abortion. what a bitch. She's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to divorce Discard and I can't go through with this, man. Oh, man, it's crazy. And the thing I remember pretty clearly the first time watching it was like even a racial element, which wasn't as much as I remember. Because the dead girl is Aboriginal as well, so they have that whole thing. And that just adds a bit to it, But there isn't a whole lot of, I don't know, Aboriginals in the film, really. Which I think is fine, because this is a white fella's tale. If this film was made now, it'd have, like, so many Aboriginals, and you'd just be like, ugh, it's all just diversity quota. They're just trying to... Even if there wasn't even a diversity quota they had to get, it'd just be like, just put more of them in. So showing their side of the story and everything. I mean, I guess it could show a bit. Maybe, I don't know. No, they wouldn't do it well. Fuck that. But, spoilers. The film does end with, like, when those guys and their family go to the funeral of this chick with all the Aboriginals around. It shows them and they're like... They're pretty angry. They're pretty angry at those dudes, but they're like, they end up being chill about it. They can see that they're regretful. And you know what, man? I don't know if this really comes across in the film, really, but it just... Or whenever, like, with these guys and then, like, people being like, they should be cancelled and everything for what they did, it is, like, a big local news story. And even with a local news story, it goes away. Or maybe it... I don't know. I don't live in a fucking town. I never will. Not in Australia, at least. But if you have... But if you have something like that going on in a more local town where everyone knows you, yeah, I guess it would be a bit more of a permanent shame, despite, like, well, that's all over with and the newspaper's going on to the next thing. Yeah, I just think it's just a funny concept, just the whole story, and it's so Australian. It's so just like of these guys who are shocked when they find the girl. And I don't know if this is how it plays out in the shortcuts version or in the bloody short story that I haven't read and probably never will read. But they have to camp overnight because they can't hike, because they need to hike to the area as well. So they can't hike at night. So they have to stay around. And then in the morning, one of them goes fishing real quick and he's got the fish. He's like, you know what? Let's just hang here. She ain't going anywhere. So they go the 2 days fishing. Or maybe it was 1 day. I don't know. But oh yeah, and one of the guys, what was he doing? I don't know if anyone believes it, but he's like, oh, but I rolled me ankle. We couldn't go hiking back up. He bloody rolled his ankle. It's like, oh yeah, it's such bullshit. Hey, good excuse, I suppose. Anyway, that's a fun fucking film to watch. It's funny because, like, by the way, it's like a nicely shot film, I'm not saying like, ooh, all the weird cinematography effects and everything, but it's just like a very handsome looking film and well framed and shot and everything. But yeah, I just find it to be sort of a funny film, but I guess that's just in the story and the concept, because there's almost no jokes in the film. It really does play itself pretty seriously, but hey, that works in its favor. It actually makes it funnier and more dramatic. I don't know, it's really weird. It's just a pretty interesting story, and the way they deal with it in the film is, it's really cool. It's really well done. Anyway, sorry, I was meant to talk about the other films. Alright, hang on. Okay, let's get on to the actual film review of the film you've all been waiting for. I just saw it yesterday. So here's my film review of Bringing Out the Dead. I mean, again, not my second. I've seen this 3 times or whatever. And watching it again, I just keep thinking this is, a Martin Scorsese. It's the only Martin Scorsese film with Nicolas Cage in it, in a lead role. And it's also written by Paul Schrader, so it's got like all this stuff, and it's just put together really well, but it just weirds me out that more people don't watch this shit. Because it's such a really, I guess, really intoxicating view on this sort of nightlife work, and it just looks it just looks crazy. It looks like it makes you crazy. I don't think it's not like the film's crazy itself and like really makes things surreal. Even Nick Cage is like, he's actually more, yeah, he's more on the somber, like it's hard to say. Yeah, he's still like more somber and more kind of like tired and sleepy in this film, but he gets a bit manic at times. But it does seem like he's doing that thing. I guess you don't even see it that much from him at times, but like where he has the manic Nick Cage in him, but he's suppressing it down with the somber one instead. So you can see like a bit of the two that he tends to do. It's a really good performance. I think everyone's really good in the film except for Patricia Arquette. She stinks, but her character is good. So that's fine with me. Whatever. Yeah, it's a lot of great actors in it. You got John, like he has he's an ambulance driver, by the way, and it's sort of a episodically structured film. There is like a through line with how he has the father of Patricia Arquette's character. The father like has a heart attack, and they bring him into the medical center, which is like a crazy bad medical center where there's I don't know, a lot of drug addicts and shooting victims and all that sort of thing. But he goes there and he's like sort of being, what do you call it? Refibrillated, shocked every 12 minutes, or no, not every 12, like 12 times a day, that kind of thing. But he's there kind of basically put on life support. And Nicolas Cage, after a while, starts to sort of hear voices from this guy, because the guy does start to become more conscious, like awake actually, but he's in like a lot of pain, so they have to sedate him. And Nicolas Cage starts to suspect that this guy really wants to die. Spoilers, he does end up taking him off the life support, which it's not, I guess it's one of those things where it doesn't get fully explained. It's very alluded to. But Nick Cage feels bad throughout the whole film because he couldn't save the life of like a whole bunch of people, but it's just one chick that he had a problem with. But it seems like, you have this kind of closure at the end where he's like, he feels so regretful about that, and it haunts him. Not in like a crazy way. He keeps seeing her face everywhere, but it's not like... And he even talks to her as well, and people are like, who are you talking to? But it's not done in like a really crazy way where he's like, oh, I keep seeing her face everywhere. That kind of thing. He's taking it as best as he can, I guess you could say. So I guess he's having like that closure where he's doing the opposite at the end, where he's taking someone's life because he seems to suspect that this person... I don't know, I'm thinking about it now. Like, I guess because, I guess he's trying to address his suspicions of what the wishes are of this person who he suspects wants to die. But there is talk in the film about... There's actually a great speech where, in the middle of the film, where he's talking about being like a god. Like when you save someone, he's like, when you save someone, you feel like you are a god. You feel like you're on top of the world, walking on sunshine. You feel like, in a way, you've saved yourself. Everything you touch is infinite. It's a really, like, in a pretty murky film. In a murky film, not cinematography. It's like the one bit of joy, I guess, with that, and an actual explanation as to why he even works this job. But yeah, he's sort of saying that it's like you're a god to bring someone back. I guess I've been thinking recently to kill someone is like being a god. Where did I... Oh yeah, it was in the movie Manhunter. I watched that recently. So that actually had the opposite thing where, in a sense, where it's like, Hannibal Lecter, Brian Cox, Hannibal Lecter, he's like, when you kill someone... I can't do his voice. He's so good in it. I wish it was more of a minute. But wow, when you kill someone, you bloody... Oh God, I cannot do the accents. But he says, you know, when you're killing someone, it makes you feel like a god. And here in this film, it's the opposite. When you save someone, you're feeling like a god. But at the end of the film, he kills the guy. He executes him. He basically pulls the plug. And in a sense, that is like a godlike act. Because one of the other ambulance drivers, Ving Rhames' character, he's a really fucking like happy, joyful guy. And he said something at one point like about like, oh, but, you know, it's a shame all this death and murder and, you know, but hey, you know, when it's your time and you gotta go. So he says that sort of thing. So it is a lot of that like brink of life, brink of death, that very grey line right there that the film is really addressing. But it never, you know, just throws it out at you and has Nick Cage looking at the camera and saying, this is how it is, you really gotta, really, and that kind of thing. Even though he has that narration, which is fairly sparse, it's done at the right moments throughout this film, which is the sort of film that's like, I guess because it's Martin Scorsese and Nick Cage and all these other actors, it's one of those films where it seems like must have been a box office bomb, because it does look expensive. As in, there's a lot of locations, there's a lot of, like, the art design and sets, there's a lot of camera angles and setups. So, when there's a lot of setups like that, you start to think, like, this is an expensive... It's more... It just shows that, like, they weren't that skimp on the money, you know. They were like, hey, you got enough money for this? You want an extra angle? Sure thing. Which ends up resulting in some questionable editing here and there, but it doesn't entirely ruin the film at all. Other than that, the editing is fine. It's just some of the weird choices just here and there. And it's a great looking film. Like it just technically, it's just amazing. I love the cinematography of it. I love all the bolé and all that kind of crap of street lights, ambulance lights, all of the lights. I love the whole. I mean, obviously, this whole film is just about all set at nighttime. Oh boy, the ambulance night shift in this kind of place. I think there's a bit of like, you know, the spot bloom lighting. I think there might have been a bit of that, but I'm getting that confused with another film I saw recently, Minority Report. That had a lot of the bloom lighting. That's really, I mean, I think just overall, it's just an excellent film. Really well done. Just a bit spotty here and there, but it really has a through line with it. And it's really, I love all the, who's the other guy? Those two ambulance drivers, the Tom Sizemore dude, who's kind of the most interesting. And because there's moments in the film where you see him just beating the shit out of, like, this one dude who's got like dreadlocks and he's going around. Oh, it's so disgusting. It's like covered in blood, and he's just spinning his dreads around and getting blood everywhere. Fucking hell, that would make me shit my pants in the late 90s. I'd be like, I have AIDS now. Great. Nowadays, I'd be like, I have COVID. Oh no, it's worse. But this other ambulance driver, you see him like doing stuff like beating the shit out of that guy, and then later on, you see him like talking to him, and he's like, "Hey, I helped you out yesterday. You know, I brought you in. We did it." Like, he's really, really like manipulative, but he's actually like using like the ambulance driver job as a way to get out. I don't know, some pretty bad. I don't know, violent impulses in him. Perfectly cast. That kind of character. Yeah. But the other two guys are a little more friendly. Anyway, now, alright, let's get on with the actual review of the actual film I was supposed to talk about. Minority Report. Yeah, I hadn't seen that in a while, and I picked it up recently. Yeah, I gave it a watch. Man, I just want to get straight to the back. I really like that film, but I really got to talk about the end first, because a lot of stuff at the end where it's revealed, spoilers, that the Max von Sydow character is like, he planted this thing all along, which was like a clever concept. I assume it's in the original book, short story, or whatever, where he like, they think it's an echo, but he's actually committing crime. If you watch the movie, it'll make sense. But he and how he set it all up, I don't mind that being a plot point. It's just a bit too long at the end. It's just all like, I know what you did. You did this and that, but you said this, and you did it, but you didn't think I know this, but I know that you know. But oh no, you're embarrassed now, aren't you? It's like a gotcha moment at the end, which yeah, it's fine and all. Anyway, yeah, I really like this film. I've always liked it. I've always liked this film. I always thought it was like a cool, like Bringing Out the Dead. Well, it's a bit more mainstream. It's like a really well done, like, you know, a thoughtful, well put together sci-fi film with proper, like, you know, really has its foot in the oh god, is it Philip K. Dick? I don't know, the that source material where it is like, this is not sci-fi, this is science fiction, damn it, this is important. Oh, but it's still got all the car chases and everything, which I think are really good. I think the action scenes in this are cool. They're really fun, but they actually bring in, they actually utilize the futuristic shit going on, like the way the self-driving cars. I love that chase scene in it where he's jumping between cars. Oh god, what else? I mean, there's like the bit where, what are they called? The spiders. They come into people's homes, like they go up into the apartment, scanning people's eyes to check. Oh man, I love that stuff. That stuff is so fucking prescient, it seems, because it just shows people's like casual domestic compliance with this kind of authoritative crap. Like this bit where there's a couple are arguing and the spiders come in and they just have to put the argument on hold to have the spiders scan them, and like the kids are scared of these spiders that come in. They're not actual spiders, by the way, in case they're like these electronic things that creep into your houses to like scan people's eyes so they know where they are. But little do they know, the character has new eyes, so it's fine. Yeah, I love that bit. I love that whole scene. It's great. It's really tense. What was the other? What was the other one? Oh yeah, with the jetpacks. Yeah, you know, a good old jetpack fight scene. That's really cool. It's always good to see one of them, especially one involving the 6 sticks. They stick it in you and you start vomiting crazy. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, this is, you know, it's like a, it's a really well done, I don't know, like in terms of, what's it called? Is it called determinism? I don't mean when you're determined, but when, like, dealing with how things lay out for, like, you know, the stuff you do in life. what's coming to you in the future and how we can, like, predict it with, because it can be predetermined and that kind of thing. Oh yeah, that's just a good concept for the sci-fi film. I just love the way they kind of, the way they discovered, what are they called? Precogs. The precogs who like actually dream the stuff up. It's pretty movie-like, you know. It's like, how the fuck do they get like their vision on the screen? Oh, I mean, it's like the year 2050 something. I'm sure we'll have where you can like imagine a thing and it'll come up on a screen. I mean, that's already happening now, essentially. So yeah, there's not really like any big leaps with the science fiction crap going on, like the concepts and everything. It's, even though they seem a little supernatural, I suppose, but it's all done pretty well, and it's like the right level of grounded. It's not uber totally seriously realistic, but it's not like crazy either. And like I say, I just love the sci-fi concepts. I love all the little, yeah, I guess the details in a sense, like when he's walking around and they're scanning his eyes and he's like, oh god, get away from me, stop scanning me. And they're like advertising to him, like that direct advertising. A lot of this shit really has somewhat occurred. I think it's like the compliance whole thing as well. I mean, obviously that's a big sci-fi trope throughout sci-fi, even in the 20th century. But yeah, they do it really well in this film. So yeah, I really dig it. So yeah, I thought I'd talk about that. I still really dig that film. In fact, I really think it's one of Spielberg's best, but I haven't watched like a bunch of his recent films, so I haven't seen them all. So I don't know. Maybe they're amazing and they're the best, but I like this more than Jaws and Schindler's List. So go fuck yourself. I thought I'd bring it up because I was mentioning the spotlighting. There's so much spotlighting. I don't mind. Like, I love the look of the film as well. I don't mind that there's all this spotlighting and it's really blooming. And I feel like some people, it would annoy some people. Fine, but I'm cool with it. I think it adds some sort of futuristic element, like kind of like a sheen, or just to make it look otherworldly. But I just like the style. I just like the fact that the film does. It's a bold film, you know. If it wants to, you know, go down a certain path, it does. And even with the technical aspect like that, they just decided to film it like that. I think it does look cool. Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, I really do like the futuristic city of L.A., Portland. I don't know. in this film, it really does look good. The way it's implemented into the story and the action scenes is really good. It just seems like so many films similar to this. They just have a futuristic city, but you just have like an exterior shot of it, and people are just driving their cars around in it during a fight scene or a chase scene or whatever. And it's like it's not really utilized at all, and it's just there. You're like, okay, cool. It's just like, yes, a reminder, we are in the futuristic setting. I hate films set in the future where there's like a big city and everything, and then they're like, we gotta leave, and then they go to the desert and there's like nothing futuristic there at all. It's just like, oh, you just wanted to you blew your budget on the first third of the film. I'm looking at you, Looper. Damn, that film overrated. Anyway, now on to the actual alright, I'm reviewing the Batman review. I saw this earlier in the month, and I think I've forgotten about it already, so I got nothing to say. I actually don't think I have too much to say. That's the problem with the film. I like it. It's good. I think it's good. It is solid, and I'm perfectly fine watching it. But it does drag, like, and gets too exposition-y in, like, the middle part. The middle part's like a lot of people getting tortured, and they're just like, it was him, but it's over there, but it's actually over there. And it's just a lot of that. You're like, oh, okay, cool, get on with it. It does seem like more could be done with a film like this, especially with the Penguin. He didn't do anything. He acted like Tony Soprano. He even has the Bada Bing nightclub. Spruced up a bit now, I suppose. A bit more targeted towards the younger generation. That's what he is. He's like, hey, oh, gabagoo. He's just doing that, and he never goes, he never really does anything particularly villainous except get into a chase scene and fails at it. As you can see in the trailer, and that's it really. And then he gets apprehended and that's it really. You see him again later. Yeah, I gotta say that chase scene, like the chase scene was pretty disappointing. I didn't like the way some of the fight action scenes were shot in this. I'm like, ooh, that's a weird, not very good camera angle. It's just like stuck on someone's face. Yeah, I didn't really like the car chasing that much. Really nothing special to me. What I did like was when we first see the Batmobile. Oh, I got a boner and came in my pants. But is there a comedy moment with it? Like, you see it and it's revving up and it looks so cool and it's in the dark. You're like, oh, yeah, he's getting it out. Fucking Batmobile, yeah. But then it's like, and then it just goes, Batman's like, oh shit. Gets it up again. I don't know. It's just doing a burnout or whatever. So that was cool. Look, I think like this as a Batman film is done well. I think that, you know, I'm no Batman fan or whatever, but I've seen all the other films essentially, aside from Batman versus Superman. I guess I know about that film anyway. This as a Batman film does pretty well. I mean, it deals well with the character. Some of his, I like some of his dialogue. It may be a little cheesy, especially at the beginning, where he's like, they're scared of the shadows because I am in the shadows. I'm all of the shadows, bitch. That, like, whatever he says there is, I think it's really cool. I think it really does establish the character well. It does, yeah, it just seems like having that narration there does make it feel like, you know, you are... I've never actually made this connection before, but it does make it feel like a comic book. Like, you're seeing shots, and then you have this voiceover. And the voiceover is kind of written almost like it's a comic book. Like, it's very, you know, pretty delivered. And not like actual thoughts of Batman, unless Batman's thoughts really are this dramatic. But yeah, no, I dug it. I think it's Batman's narration and not Bruce Wayne's narration. 'Cause then he can have a little bit of a gruff voice. Yeah. And the Batman from Robert Pattinson, it's cool. Like I like it. I think he did well, but that I don't think there's anything particularly special or terrible in this film. There's some disappointing things here. There's some pretty good things here. Like no, I think it gets a bit busy towards the end, but it does come through as like a Batman is a hero. You know what, man? I like this. This is kind of what I want to see in a superhero movie, is superheroes. Like a person acting like a hero and saving people, and they're like, thank you, Batman. Hey, we were wrong about you, calling you a douche before. Instead of like the Marvel shit, where whatever other film where it's just like people shooting fireballs out of their hands. Like everyone's doing it, and you're like, well, this is bullshit. You're just fighting each other. You're not being superheroes. This is like anime or whatever. Like Dragon Ball Z. You're just shooting the beams out of your hands at each other and seeing who can like produce the biggest beam. And then it just cuts to another, like at the very end of the fight scene, it just cuts to a random shot like, I don't know, like the news, and it shows footage of people in the city like, thank you, Superman, you saved us. Like at the end of Man of Steel, you fucking cocksucker. You crashed, you just demolished all these buildings to fight this dude. Killed all these people, and they're all like, yay, Superman, fuck you, goddamn, what a shit film. Anyway, yeah, this was actually nice to see. I would rather see this kind of stuff. Yeah, and I guess it kind of helps, like it does feel really cinematic towards the end, where I do think a lot of the cinematography is great. I remember the music being good, I suppose. I don't know, I've heard mixed opinions about it, but yeah, it's good. Yeah, cinematography actually is like it's still pretty typical for a modern day blockbuster film, where it's just like orange and red and just tinge it over. But they do it well. They do it well here. It adds to the mood of the film, so that's cool. I mean, I do think the mood of the film is, it's just, I mean, have you seen that Watchmen meme, right? Where what's his name? Dr. Manhattan's talking about like each of the Batman films and the gritty and whatever. It does sort of feel like, yeah, this is just pretty similar to The Dark Knight in terms of mood. And that's definitely a better film with like more surprises and, some better acting, some more, much better villains in that film for sure. And I suppose a better Batman. But that film, I guess, its style is a bit different. It's a bit more it's very like grounded, It's trying to, even if it's like silly at times, it's still trying to be grounded and have like realistic looking cinematography. But this is more stylish, but the mood's still the same, and it's still, it feels like real and like a, not like goofy, or people are just like falling over and going, "Ooh," and people don't really die and that kind of thing, or they just come back like the fucking Marvel films, like all these other superhero movies. If Batman died, it's like, oh, we'll just grab the Dragon Balls and we can bring him back. Oh, for fuck's sake. It's just like Krillin in Dragon Ball Z. And it's like he died more than twice, and you're not even supposed to come back when you've died twice. But Shenron's just like, just have him. But if he dies again, for fuck's sake, I'm not giving him back to you. Stop getting into fights, Krillin. Anyway, that's my review of the Batman. One last thing. Zoe Kravitz is really hot in this. And the Riddler is... it's not a really memorable villain, but that's the thing about this film. It's serviceable. Until the end, where he's like, no, it was supposed to go to my plan. I'm like, I'm a little disappointed. Like, I feel like more could have been done with Paul Dano in this role. I wish I just could have seen him behind the mask a bit more earlier on, because so much of his performance, it almost could have been done by anyone, because he's behind a mask and he's got like tape over his mouth so you can't hear him properly. I gotta say, a good attention to detail is when he's doing his live stream at the end of the film. Like the camera of the live stream is like kind of shitty. Like, it's done well. It's not like you're looking at it, you're like, well, obviously they filmed this with a red camera and it's like 4K quality. They try to make it look shitty with these bad plug-in effects and whatever. But no, it looks good. It looks like a camera that you'd buy from 2015 or whatever. That would make sense because he's an incel or whatever. I don't know. That's superhero villains for you. I don't think there's much there's nothing to spoil in this film. Look, spoiler alert, no one dies. Am I wrong? I mean, a couple of people die, but like Penguin doesn't, Riddler doesn't, Joker doesn't. Oh, he comes up at the end. I didn't like that. Ugh, fuck off. Apart from that, like the film does, again, aside from, as Marvel films don't do, this is a film with a start and an end. And it could be like, you could make a sequel to it. That's perfectly fine. It does open up. But there's no like, what do you call it when you do that? When you have something at the end to be like, oh, maybe they'll be back in the next. It's like Skeletor at the end of Masters of the Universe. I'll be back. No, you won't be. Yeah, that's all I'm really going to say about that. I'm so tired. It feels like not a lot of people think it's really shit, but I've seen some people really give it high praise, and I'm like, oh, come on now. I feel like people could like really rave about this film, and I could do what I always do and convince people that the film wasn't as good as they thought it was, and like, oh yeah, actually you're right. It doesn't actually make sense about this. I'm sure, and I know that there's a lot of story elements in the film that also don't make a lot of sense or are like a little contrived and convoluted and don't really add up. But to me, it's more just that it's not the worst story. I mean, I followed it along fine enough, but I did start to lose interest. And then there's a lot of shit going on with like a mayor who gets shot and survives somehow, even though it goes like right through both of her lungs, I'm sure. Nah, that's fine. Nah, whatever. It's a 3-hour fucking movie, so I might as well have all this content in it. Yeah. Anyway, it was fine. It's a good movie. I give it a thumbs up, but it's like just a thumbs up, And yeah, again, it does seem like if there'd been no Batman film from 2012, when Dark Knight Rises came out, to now, I might like it more. There might be less saturation. But again, like, honestly, I think I like this as much as Batman and Robin. And I guess it won't happen now, but we need to go back. Just a different style would be nice. It would be nice. Because I can't really have another gritty Batman movie after this. This is like black coffee right down your gullet. You can't puke. I feel like I'm too full of it now. Like, oh, it's too much of a fairly good thing. So yeah, anyway, I kind of hate Marvel films. No, I don't. And I'm sick of them as well. I don't even watch them anymore. I can't. Well, continuing along with the special, the movie talk. Anyway, all right. I just want to quickly get into this. So if you guys want to get in on some Oscar betting, I mean, the odds that I'm looking at here are all pretty, like not great, as in like the ones that you want to be voting for are at the top. So I suppose if you put in enough money down and get your money back, that's really all you got to do. But I really think lock of the week is Power of the Dog for Best Picture, which I'm not mad about. I dug that film enough. It's better than Batman. No, it is a really solid movie and whatever. There's definitely been some Oscar Best Picture winners where you watch it and you're like, oh, cool. It's a cool movie, but I won't watch it again ever. But I really would lock that in because it's won like a lot of the other awards. There's not that many other awards unless you start getting into the critics. And the critics and the Academy are two separate things, I think. I don't know. Are film critics often in the Academy? Because there's like 7,000 members there. Are they gonna vote for all this shit? This is why you shouldn't be listening to me. But anyway, it seems like Power of the Dog, Jane Campion, absolutely a lock. Don't even bother betting on her because, like I said, the odds are like 103. So that's pathetic. That's really pathetic. So don't even bother. Will Smith, pretty much a lock. I haven't even seen some of these films. I don't know about actress. Actress is too all over the place. I don't know, like, Chastain seems to be at the top for this fucking movie she's in. But it's like, alright. You may just... you know what, yeah, because they always like it when someone as hot as Jessica Chastain makes herself look like ugly like that. They always like the ugly performing, you know? So, yep, I would maybe go with that, but I wouldn't put money on it because I'm too... It's been a bit too all over the place with, like, that kind of... domination with all the other awards. Troy Kotzer for Coda. Trust me, I haven't even seen this. I don't know who that is, but it seems to be a lock. He seems to be coming up a lot. Ariana, West Side Story. I haven't. Who is this? I haven't seen the film, but yeah, you know, whatever. Absolutely a lock. But it's again not a very good bet. If my math is correct, if you bet $100 and you win, you will make $8. It's 1.08. Oh, original screenplay. I was really stressing about this. Man, I really don't know much about betting. If I put in my... No, my bets won't change. They better fucking not if the odds go down. Because it has gone down. Because I feel like Belfast will win. But weirdly enough, on the sports bet, Licorice Pizza is at the top, even though that won a BAFTA, but Belfast won the Golden Globe and the Critics' Choice Award. And fucking Don't Look Up won the Writers Guild Award for Original Screenplay. Get fucked! Like I say, I had some good things to say about that film, sure. But my god, the middle, like the big... chunky chunk of the middle part of that film, how can you look at that and think this is well written? This is some of the most awful characterization I've ever seen in a satire. Get fucked. That is unbelievable. Probably don't vote for that. Where am I? Best... Yeah, I'm going with Belfast. I don't know, do what you want. Best adapted... Coda, why not? Because, okay, it got the BAFTA and it got the Writers Guild Award for adapted screenplay. But Power of the Dog got Critics' Choice. But that's already going to win a bunch of awards, so... I don't know. Yeah, I'm going with Coda. Because Power of the Dog is second on the bet. Okay, anyway. Oh, God. And then you have Best International Feature Film. Well, gee, it's probably going to be the film that's nominated for Best Picture, Drive My Car. Overrated film a little bit. Documentaries, Summer of Soul. I mean, a lot of these are like, you know, at the top of the bets. I don't know how to, like, I don't know bet lingo. I don't know how to say this shit. Yeah, and I don't know much about the editing and cinematography. I feel like it's gonna go to Dune. Production design. Yeah, it's probably gonna win a shit ton of the technical awards. Hey, because that's what it fucking is, a film about the technical aspects. Like I've been saying this whole fucking podcast, you know, all these other films like Minority Report, technically great, but also have something that they're not boring like fucking Dune. They're not boring, and they're just like end like that fucking, which it doesn't even end. It's not even a finished film. It's not even a finished story. All right, so Best Original Score for Dune. I haven't been keeping up. I've only been checking on like acting awards and original screenplay, just the screenplay awards. So I can't really. God, some of these categories, just fuck off. You know, like Best Original Song always just goes to like a Pixar movie or like we have here, which probably will win, the James Bond song. Like, cool, but god damn, it just wins all the time. It annoys the fuck out of me. And I think you know that song Pure and the Damned? which was in Good Time. Like, you know, for that not to get a best song, come on. I mean, obviously that film got nominated for Dick. I mean, so many films got snubbed. It's just... Oh, there you go. Best makeup and hairstyling. At the top of the list is Eyes of Tammy Faye, the Chastain film. Yeah. Right. Anyway, I don't need to look at any of these other fucking categories. So yeah, sorry guys. I'll try and be a bit more knowledgeable about this, because I know you're putting all your bloody money in, aren't you? And then you're gonna blame me, aren't you? You're gonna fucking come to my house, kill me, and take my money. Fucking get away from my money. You can kill me, but don't take my money. Alright, I'm so out of here. I just want to either die or go to sleep. God damn. I started a new job recently. This is the David Morgan Brown Experience. Yeah. Episode, 40, whatever. Yeah, I'm done. I think I need a wank, actually. That'll make me more tired. I seriously think I will do that. Instead of doing actual thing like working on that film I'm working on. Fuck that. I'm going to wank instead. I really will. I'm really not kidding. Okay, I might be kidding. Only because I might not do it. I might actually be like, oh, no. But I think I will. Because I don't know. Because I got to go out soon. And you see people. You're like, ooh, I've just wanked. It's weird. Probably smell a cum on me. I'm still coming in my pants right now. Depending on who I'm looking at.